am Michelle Burton, tonight's moderator and one of the leaders on the pastoral leadership team at the Outpouring. Our panelists are also leaders on the pastoral leadership team, and they are from my left to my right are Kenneth and Virginia Webster, Wendell and Sandy Stovall, and Edmund and myself. Welcome back. And to those of you who are in TV land, if you're listening to this and watching this right now, please make plans and make your way to Love for Real episode 5 on next Wednesday. We look forward to having you here. I'm telling you, the food was good tonight. So come on out, eat, bring the family, and let's talk about some Love for Real issues. Amen? All right, we were going to begin with question number 7 because we kind of began this question on last week, and so we want to pick up right here, and I'm going to repeat the question. It says, if a spouse receives money, is it a loan or is it a gift from the spouse?
When you're married, I don't see it as a loan or what's the next one? Loan
or gift.
Or gift. I mean, if I have my wife and my wife want $1,000 and I have it, I'm not expecting her to give me back. I don't see it fair as if she's my wife and I have the money. I just give it to her. To me, it's not no big deal. I'm not looking for her to say, okay, I took this $1,000 from you last month, so here. Nah.
People do what works for them, and not necessarily saying they're not on the same accord. It's just that they do what works for them. Like me, and we don't share the same account, but we do our taxes together. We know how much each other make. If he needs something, I got it. And vice versa. We don't. Here go my debit card. There's no hiding anything, and if he give me some money, I don't think he expect for me to give it back to him. Sometimes for my birthday, I just want money, you know? So I think it don't necessarily mean that everything is divided. It's just some people have different accounts for different reasons.
So for people that run their household finances separately, do you think she should pay it back if you give it to her? Is that a loan or is that a gift?
It depends. I think it depends on what the agreement was. If you're asking me, can I have some money to whatever, or can I borrow some money because I need this? If you're borrowing some money because you're short on something, if that's the agreement, if you're agreeing to pay it back, then you should pay it back. But if Gary just give me some money, I don't think he's expecting for me to give it back to him.
I think when you're talking about money, and I think it needs to be established up front. When you're asking for the money, it needs to be established whether or not if this is a loan or a gift. I think that needs to be established. Candace, you have a comment?
I never expect to give anything back because anything you're giving me benefits us. So, I mean,
so a pair of shoes, how does that benefit us?
How does that benefit? Because he loves me and he want to see me in a new pair of shoes. He want to see me in a new pair of shoes. If I look in there and I'll be like, he'll be like we went school shopping and we got the girls' clothes. He was like, man, you want some shoes? I was like, yeah, glad you asked. Let me go ahead and get these. So, but I don't think he expects me to pay that back. Like it's not a tit for tat. It's like if you got it, you got it. If I don't, you have it. So it's the same thing because everything you give me, I have the kids. You know, it's gonna benefit everybody. So now personal gifts, that's birthdays, stuff like that, which you really not getting that back. That's for me.
Is an event that I want to get her a birthday present, I'll have to go in this and find out, oh, you want to pay $50 for my gift, okay? So I know exactly how much you swiped the card for, okay? So the concept, and I can see in that context as far as, but again, when it's talking about as far as community, together account, everything as far as the general fund, as far as everything that the household needs, that comes out of this account. Everybody contributes to that account. But as far as, have your little nest egg, whatever, something for, emergencies or something that you want to do for special for me, or I want to do something special for her, then again, that's where we pull that out of, okay? That may not be a whole lot. It may not be make $100 in that, but the bottom line is that's account for that. for that situation. But everything, the majority of stuff goes into the account that the whole family benefits from. So that situation from that, I can see that in that context of having different accounts in that aspect. But again, like somebody said, that if a person is bad management of money, okay? And unfortunately, that's a lot of cases that happen. That actually happens. People have bad management of money, so therefore, I understand having a separate account. That's an issue that you have to work out. That's internal, okay? That's not that you can fix in one day, because let's face it, some people see X amount of dollars and they just go willy-nilly. Because I told you about my niece who thought that, because I have a checkbook, I can continue to write checks. Man, it's not just in the money bank. I got checks, so I can just write checks. And if you're married to a person like that, then you got a serious problem, okay? So you do need to have a separate account on that one, because bills won't get paid because they gonna write checks. Everybody write checks. So that needs to be put a stop to, okay? Because you will all be outdoors when you continue to write checks. You will. So that's constant.
If I have this account that my husband don't even know about, that's not good. You also have to check your motives as well.
Just the fact that this question showed up on the panel as far as issues, or I have a question about this, I just think that if you're having to have this question before a panel, then that identifies like a real issue in your relationship as it relates to finances, right? Because what issues are gonna be more threatening to your marriage? Money and sex, and sometimes the kids. But so if you're not having open, honest dialogue about those issues, then therein lies the root of your problem right there. That whatever kind of system you have in place, there has to be full disclosure and open communication about those accounts and about why you do things the way you do it.
At the end of the day, you have to do what works best for you, okay, as far as the finances are concerned. Because let's face it, it's going to either benefit or affect everybody in the household, no matter what everybody does. At the end of the day, and kind of like piggyback after what Wendell said, I love the way TJ says, what really kills a marriage is PMS, and not power, money, and sex. Those are three things. Power is in the finances, money, and sex. So that's the situation. So those actually will deteriorate a marriage. So you have to get on the same page with this. But again, going back to the question, because was it a loan or a gift? How was it presented? How did you ask for it? Did you ask for a gift or did you ask for a loan? Because, you have to be people of integrity. If you ask, can you loan me? Well, I'm expecting it back. That's the bottom line. You ask, loan me, that's a loan. If it's a gift, it's a gift. Bottom line, was it a loan or a gift? That's how you set the criteria, whether it was, no matter who has the finances, the bottom line is, was it a loan or was it a gift? If it was a loan, yes, you got to pay it back.
So I think that the whole two separate account thing is, it's a Band-Aid on a deeper problem. Mm-hmm. So, and the aim has got to be to grow towards coming together. So whatever reason, and I've seen a lot of reasons why people start out with two separate accounts, but inevitably, the whole goal has got to be to come together. So somebody mentioned, what if one of the spouse is bad with money? Well, that's true. You get that a lot. There's one that, swipe happy or check happy, one of us. And so I believe that in that case, the person who is more financially astute should manage the money, right? But the other person should have access to the money as well. And it has to be a mature conversation, right, about your spending. There's no way you're in a relationship as a mature adult and you're just gonna buy what you wanna buy and do what you wanna do. Like, that's not even, first of all, the mentality is not a person that should be married, okay? Because if you just go spend and you don't know if rent is paid or then that's just immaturity. So if one person is, and it always is that way in a relationship, one person is the saver and the other person is the spender. So there has to be a mutual conversation. Like Pastor Burton said, if I don't want you to know how much money I'm spending and what, I think it's completely okay to do what you said, Pastor Burton, about having 3 accounts. So what that looks like to me is like we put all our monies together, okay? Everything I make go in the bank, everything you make go in the bank. We decide what bills are, right? And we decide what, for the lack of a better word, what allowances are, okay? So you're gonna get 100 and I'm gonna get 100. Whatever I do with my $100, that's my business.
Right.
Whatever you do with yours, that's yours. But nobody's going back and swiping again anything that you need personally. See, that makes sense. But again, because of taxes and just being real, okay, because we said love for real. Just because of taxes and child support and all this here kind of stuff, sometimes I see couples do keep the money separate, right? But I think the aim has got to be, whatever the issue is, whatever caused you guys to decide to go separate, it has to be a plan to get it together at some point, you know? Whether it is, like I said, you put the major parts of the money together and then separate it out according to spending plans, or, you know, all of it is together and we just have a limit. If you're gonna spend anything over $100, call me. That's how it works in our house. If you're gonna spend anything that you think we're gonna miss, you need to give a call and say, I'm buying a $499 computer today, honey. Okay, you need to say that, right? I'm not gonna say you can't, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just gonna say, at least you need to let me know out of respect, because this is our money, right? So again, I just think we say love for real, okay, and we're gonna keep it real, but we also gonna keep it right. And it really needs to be together at some point. So that has to be the focus. Sooner or later, we're gonna put this together.
I don't believe in loans in a marriage. I believe, and this is just my personal belief, when we are married, we are one, you know, and I tell him all the time, I joke with him all the time, what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine. That's our ongoing joke. But honestly, I think that a spouse, because of the love that you all are supposed to have for one another, you loan a friend money. You don't loan your spouse money. Okay, if that, I mean, you all come together and that's your agreement in the beginning, then yes, you have to uphold that because that's the agreement you made, but the agreement shouldn't have been made in the first place. That's just my opinion. All of it should be together. We have one account where we pay all the bills out of, and we have a limit, okay? You can't spend over this amount of money this month. I can't spend over, we have the same amount, you know, and once it's spent, because it's in the budget, that's it, till the next go round. So it should be together, you know. I mean, it's okay, like Pastor Burton said, and Virginia, it's okay to have the separate accounts to have your allowances, but as far as household items, it shouldn't be separate. Why does it have to be separate? If you have someone who's a bad money manager, then that person doesn't need the bank card, that person doesn't need the checkbook, because they don't need to go into, but you get that understood from day one. You know, Wendell always tell people, she's a better money manager than I am. She's better with that, so I let her handle that. And so he called and say, hey, can I, you know, how much money do we have in the bank? We have such amount of money. Or, you know, I spent this. We communicate. Communication is key, you know, or else you will find yourself in a bind. So I personally don't think it should be separate in that case.
So I don't have to pay you back for all that. You know, I'll spend my 100 and she'll keep her 100.
She have 100.
And I'll be like, hey.
Like, can I get 20?
Like you said, you have your limits. How did y'all come to that agreement? Like, okay, we're married now. We both got jobs. It's going to go here. How did y'all come to that consensus of this is the limit that we going to like set ourselves on?
I kind of know what he spent his money on, you know, and so we sat down and we actually went through the checkbook in the beginning, and we looked and we added up the total amount that he spent, the total amount that I spent, and was like, wait, well, that's way too much, so let's set a limit. And so if I say, okay, well, the limit is 150, are you okay with that? Because I know what you're going to go, you know, purchase or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's cool, I'm okay with that. But if he'd have said no, then we'd have kept negotiating until we both came to an agreement of what amount would suffice without putting us in a bind. You see, and that's after everything is paid. After the budget is done and everything is paid, and we know how much we have. And it may change from month to month. It just depends. It depends on what's coming in and what's going out. So you have to communicate. And you said it, you set it in stone in the beginning, and be versatile. You be flexible, if you will, because sometimes it does change.
Because her income is stable, my income is not stable.
Right.
As a trainer, I mean, it can fluctuate a lot in a month. So it's only fair, to me anyway, that, we communicate these limits, right? Like, if her income is stable, mine's not, but I'm a swiper. I'm a Starbucks HEB, $5, $7, right? And so I need to know, like, after the bills are paid, how much money is left that I can still feel like I have my independence, right? That I don't have to, hey, can I go to Starbucks?
Right.
Or, hey, can I get Chick-fil-A for lunch?
Right.
So I still need to feel some sense of control. Right? And so it's just good that I have but I don't want my light bill to bounce because I've got trigger happy with the swipe card. You know what I'm saying? And so because I know I don't handle the finances, she handles the finances, which I don't have no problem with,
I think it goes back to it goes back to the budgeting, okay? Because you have to work within, because you cannot work outside of what you actually have, okay? That's the first thing. So there are some things, some necessities that have to be taken care of, and whatever's left after that, that's where you would draw your allowance from. Because okay, let's say just use a figure. Let's say that I'm using around, let's say $500. You get $500 a week. Okay, the bill's gonna total $450. So your budget for both of y'all now is only $25 a piece. Okay, that's all you got to work with. Okay, no matter how much you like to do, that's all you got to work with is $25 a piece. That's all. You may get mad because if we go past that $25, either you messing with my $25 or you messing with some bill money. Okay, so that's the bottom line. You have to, again, goes back to communicating. I need to know exactly what's got to be taken care of this week with this pay period, and then once that's taken care of, then that's where we draw our allowance from. Again, like I said, it may be $100, might not be. Many times it's only been 50. Okay, just being honest. Okay, so it fluctuates. It really does. And because, like I said, sometimes some bills, like light bill, may go a little bit higher, water bill may go a little bit higher. So it affects the community budget. So therefore, we don't have much to draw out of as far as our allowance is concerned. So it has to go back to that. So once everything, the necessities are taken care of, because we don't talk about allowance until the necessities, because none of us want to be outside. None of us don't want to have a car and can't put no gas in it. Okay, and car notes, all the stuff, it still comes up. Okay, so once all the necessities are taken care of, that's whatever the bottom line after that, that's where and again, a lot of times, it may not be allowed. This way, we got to wait till next week before we get another allowance. So that happens. And trust me, that's a part of life. That's real life. So, yeah.
Pastor Ken?
Well, I think the bottom line is, everybody said it's budget. And that's your roadmap to wherever you're trying to go financially. So you have to, what we did, we sat down and planned it out, and so she knows what she can get. And you got to know how to deal with those times where, things come up that you didn't anticipate. Or there's a swipe that went over, y'all know, it went over the amount that was allotted. So you gotta figure out how to manage that. But I think you go back to the table, you sit down and talk about it, and try to get control of it. It has to be some discipline. I think that when it comes to spending, there has to be some discipline. So and respect. So if we sit down and make a budget, and you know that these are the rules, this is what we have, then you got to stick to it. And so, or it's coming out of your budget the next time. So now nails might be short, hair might, if you didn't put that in the budget, you understand, if you didn't make that a part of the budget. It all depends on how you plan your budget and what you put in your budget and what comes out of the community pot. And and like Pastor Burton said, what you have left over. And, you know, I advise everybody, you do the 10-10-80. That way, you know, the 80 is what you live off of, and you make sure that your expenditures are, you know, less than the 80%. And so what that 10-10-80 is that you tithe 10%, you save 10%, and you live off the 80. And that's really how we should live as Christians. And to make sure that, you know, first of all, that 10% that you're saving is, you know, put away so that you'll have an emergency fund. So that if something happens, then you are, you know, you have the wherewithal to do it, and you're not, you know, trying to borrow money or, you know, take out a loan to take care of something that you should have the money for. So that budget helps you to stay in track if you abide by it. So you got to abide by the budget in order to make sure that I believe you're respecting the other person. So we make sure that, hey, I'm a gadget person. So when a new gadget comes out, you know, I got to make that phone call because it's going to be over $100. It's going to be way over $100. And so I said, I'm going to buy a new laptop. I'm going to buy a new whatever. And, you know, I get permission. You know, if she say no, then I got to find a way to do what I need to do. You understand? I gotta,
cans,
you know, I got to do something. You know, she said, no, I don't think we. So I got to find a way. I got to find a way. And so I got to maybe go, you know, get on my ground a little harder, because I got to have it. You know, so. But that budget is the bottom line is you got to have a budget, and you got to make sure that you include the things you need to include, so that when you get short on your allotted allocation that you have privately, that you have something. So say for instance, you know, you got $20, then for the week, if you have $20 for the week, then you don't have to spend the whole $20 just because you have $20. You understand? I can keep $100 in my pocket a long time. You understand? I don't have to spend it. I don't have to spend it. So when my allowance comes, you know, then I'm stockpiling. So you got to have that kind of mentality, because you don't know if something comes up, you want to buy it, then okay, now I'm saved for it. Now I can buy it. Now I don't have to ask it, because it's coming out of my money. You understand? And so I think that's how you overcome that borrowing and lending, that type of stuff. So I don't believe that she can borrow money. She said, "Oh, baby, can I borrow some money?" I said, "Baby, when you gonna pay it back?" Because I'm anticipating for you to pay it back. Now, if you don't pay it back, then it's okay because you're my wife. But if you say borrow,
That's just a term of endearment.
It sounds better than give me $20 now.
Give me is, well, the other part is that it's our money. So a lot of times, you know, it's like, you got a card, go to the bank, get it. But most times, I think ladies she want me to give her my money that's in my pocket.
But I think one of the, and we can kind of end it, but I think some key kind of takeaway points. One thing that Miss Virginia said, as far as having a plan that one day we're going to bring these accounts together, and Pastor Ken said something that kind of really kind of stuck out with me, was that roadmap that I think most couples that fight over money and have trouble coming together is because they don't have one vision for where they want to go financially. And I think if you have that conversation and you have that plan to say, hey, look, these are our goals, right? We're trying to get, whether it's to buy a new house or, you know, your car, we're going to need a new car in X amount of time. We need to start saving and heading. So financially, you're working together to head in a mutually agreed upon direction, right? And so then now you have a financial plan that keeps you on track to hit your goals, that keeps you from fighting over the money, right? And at the end of the day, that it glorifies God with your stewardship, right? And most couples we get married, we come together, and we just start paying bills and spending money without really putting in place a serious roadmap on where we want to take this relationship financially, where we going.
The other thing is that a lot of times, like when we started off, to answer your question, when we started off, she wanted her own money, I wanted it together. So the way we bought it together was I sit down and I outlined all our bills. I said, okay, so if you're gonna have yours and I'm gonna have mine, then we're gonna make everything 50-50. Okay, so at the end of the day, after we tallied everything up, I made the most money, and so she was gonna be a little short. And so that's how I presented it to her. And so that caused us to bring it together. Now, whatever I have, she have, whatever she has, I have. Okay, but I think you have to do that up front. You know, because I don't loan money that I'm not getting back.
So I think
All
that's,
right.
yeah, that's good for singles and young married couples. Like, get that together first. Get that together first.
It's important to keep it, because if your money is separate, your lives are separate. I'm just saying. Because where your money is,
Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is.
that's what the word says, so we gotta bring it together.
All right.
Okay, are we ready to move to the next question?
Yes, ma'am.
And I feel like we're going to just jump and move past question 8. We're going to come back to that one. But question 9 reads this: how do you deal with a stronghold in your life? I'm not talking about occasionally, I'm talking about habitually. A routine at that exact time, every time you mess up on the same situation is getting distasteful. How do you deal with it?
Read that again.
Okay, I'll read that one again. It says, how do you deal with a stronghold in your life? I'm not talking about occasionally, I'm talking about habitually. So it's a habit, a routine at that exact time, every time you mess up on the same situation is getting distasteful. How do you deal with it? So we're going to begin with Sandy.
How do you deal with a stronghold in your life? First of all, oh wow, that's tough. Pray. And when I say pray, you recognize that there is a stronghold. You know, you recognize that there is something that has you, that's holding you captive. And so the only way that you're going to be able to break that, I mean, obviously you can't break it, only God can break it. So you're going to have to be honest with yourself and take it to Him and say, look, Lord, you know, I've been dealing with this day after day after day, you know, every year at the same time, the same thing is going on. What do I need to do in order to break this pattern? Now, with that said, bringing it more practical, God put people in your lives for a reason. And so when you have leaders and you have pastors and you have even godly friends, you know, someone that you can trust that's going to give you godly advice, you know, you can talk to them about the stronghold, because you never know who's going through the same thing or who's been through the same thing, and they may be able to help you through that. So a stronghold, man, that's serious, because that means that you have absolutely no control over this thing. It has you. And so the enemy has you. And the only way, like I said, the only way this is going to be broken is only the power of the Holy Spirit can break that stronghold. But you got to admit to what it is. And a lot of people say, okay, well, I have this problem. Say, we always say drugs or alcoholism or something, but say I have this problem, a spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend with pornography, you know, and so how do I break this stronghold with that? You know, I got to recognize that there is a problem here, and I need to be able to talk about it and talk it through, because how can I be delivered from something that I'm still holding on to a piece of it, if that makes sense? So I'd say go to your pastors, go to your leaders, go to someone who you know is in constant contact with the Lord, and you should be also. But you got to pray that thing off of you. There's nothing that you can do on your own. They have support groups, and as Christians, we should always go with the godly advice, always.
Very good.
Well, First John 1:9 says, confess your faults, and that word faults actually translates into sins. And it says God will be faithful and just to forgive you, then cleanse you from all unrighteousness. So I think in order to overcome any stronghold, you first have to admit that you have one. You have to acknowledge that you have a problem. And if you can't acknowledge it, then you gotta let someone who sees it in you bring it to you. But it's going back to Galatians 6:1, it says that, if your brother's overtaken in a fault, ye that are spiritual must go to him in the spirit of meekness, first considering yourself, lest you be overtaken by fault. So you just don't go and approach someone because you see something in their life, because they might see something in your life, and now you got friends or whatever at odds because they've pulled up something. So I think there's a way that people who have strongholds, and I think we all have them, okay, we all have some habits that are bad, okay, and so in order to break it, we have to acknowledge it. But I think you have to make a conscious effort to put a stop to whatever it is. To create a habit, you have to do it 7 times, 3 times, 7 times, or 7 times, 3 times. In other words, it's 21 times. That's how you create a habit. You did something 7 times, and you did it 3 times over. So to reverse that, you have to do it the same way. Okay? You have to consciously be aware that whenever this situation arises, you know what you do when it happens. It's just say, for instance, that somebody flags you or cuts you off on the highway. You always you shoot them the finger, right? That's what you always do. So you got to make a conscious effort, right, not to flip them off. So you got to hold up steering wheel. You got to do that 7 times, and then you got to do it 2 more times. So it's a total of 21 times. So then because what that does is that you've planted a seed in your subconscious that now this is a behavior that you cannot carry out. So you got to break the habit, okay? And so it's certainly like Sandy said, we certainly got to pray. You got to pray through it. But prayer without works is dead. So you got to certainly be working on you when once you discover you have a stronghold. So it's not easy, and you certainly need to have people around you that you can confess. Okay, the Bible says confess your faults one to another. So if you can confess, have somebody that you can confide in, that can help you, that can hold you accountable for that stronghold, then I think that's who you need to go to. And if it's causing a problem in the marriage, then we've counseled a lot of people who have who are pornographers on the down low. You understand, once they get discovered. So they need, you might need counseling, and it might be something that you and your spouse need to engage in together in order to get this thing broken. So, and allowing her to hold you accountable, or him to hold you accountable for whatever that stronghold is, so that it doesn't cause an upheaval in the relationship.
Okay.
I think, going back to the stronghold that you says that you're aware that you have it, but you may not be aware of what the things that lead up to you falling for this stronghold. Because a lot of times we study other people, we don't really study ourselves. In other words, we just study exactly what caused me, what events that generate me to actually to yield to the stronghold. Okay, I need to be very mindful of that. And then I need to bring in an accountability group, okay, pray like everybody said, but bring somebody in who will hold me accountable. So when you see me start going toward this way, pull my coattail, say, hey, wait, come on, let's go, you're going the wrong way. Because let's face it, it's something you can't do by yourself. There's a reason why God makes a community, okay? You're in a family because, let's face it, family holds each other accountable. So it's the same concept. If you hold someone accountable, you tell them they hold me accountable. I mean, these are the things I'm dealing with. You have to be very open and honest with this person, first of all. Tell them that, I'm having a strong, let's pornography is out there. I'm kind of yielding toward this pornography, and every time I go to the computer, I get popped up. Well, have somebody, don't go to the computer by yourself, okay? First and foremost. Tell somebody, and don't go. In other words, let everybody see you like saying that. I'm on the computer, y'all. Watch me. So because y'all all know that stuff pop up, okay? Pop up, and trust me, some of the stuff that pop up ain't good, okay? So you hold them and say, hey, something just pop up my computer, okay? Let me delete it for you, okay? Because see, if you delete it, well, let me just see. I just want to check it out. No. Let this person delete it for you, okay? Because you have to have somebody hold you accountable until this stronghold. Because let's face it, where two agree, a thing is established. So that's sometimes you need somebody to come alongside you. Because just like Moses when he was on the mountain, when the children of Israel were losing the battle, and his hands got tired, Aaron and Hur popped his hands up. So sometimes you need help, okay? That's just especially if it's a stronghold. You are recognized as a stronghold, so you already know this is something you cannot battle by yourself. You need God, but you also need people too. So people to hold you accountable, hold your feet to the fire. Okay, now this is not you. They'll tell you right quick. Say, oh, come on, hey, no, you better than this. You better than this. That's why AA groups and all that. The reason why people are successful because there's an accountability group that holds them accountable to the substance that they're dealing with. You admit that this is something that you're struggling with, and you know it's wrong. But that's as far as you got because you don't let anybody in your life and let them know that, hey, I need you to help me with this. I'm having some difficulty with it. So have somebody hold you accountable, and trust me. And if you give them total, as far as showing hold you accountable, and you may not like how they're gonna respond to that, but they're doing it for your best interest, okay? Because they're doing it out of love, okay? Same scenario when your child messes up. There's some things you have to deal with them, but it's done out of love. They don't understand it right then. Oh, you must hate me because a lot of times my dad used to bust my butt. I just thought he really hated me. I'm gonna run away from home. I realized like now that he really loved me, okay? So that's the same concept. Even though as we're adults, sometimes we have to come through. We need somebody's assistance. Come back to, hey, I need you to hold me accountable to this and help me out of this situation because this is a stronghold. And all of us have strongholds. All of us have some stronghold in life, but we may not want to admit it. But you have to be woman enough, man enough to admit that this is something I'm wrestling with. I haven't gotten the victory over it. I've been dealing with this for the last 15, 20 years, okay? So you obviously, if you haven't dealt with this long, you already know you can't deal by yourself. Okay, so you got to admit that first and foremost, and then have somebody come alongside and hold you accountable. No matter what time of night, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm on the computer. Get off the computer. Get off the computer. Shut it down. Pull the plug, whatever you got to do. So that helps out a lot, though, it really does. So, yeah.
Well, there was a study done a while back. I remember the study was done saying that the Christian community really did a lot of ordering pornography when they were on church events. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was a study done a while back, but it showed that it was mostly us. Mm-hmm. When we were at a church event away from home, we were in a hotel room, we're by ourselves in a hotel room, we would order pornography. Mm-hmm. And we were doing it more than the world was doing it. In fact, we made them very prosperous because of the many times they would do it. So what do you do in a situation where, for instance, you're in a hotel room by yourself and that desire to watch pornography rises up? You at a church event, you got to go to a conference in the morning, it's 11 o'clock at night, you can't go to sleep, and wow, there's the remote.
Watch your eyelids.
I think, of course, what everybody else has said, kind of a key thing that comes to my mind Definitely there's something freeing about confessing to other people and putting it out there in a way that doesn't bring condemnation, but just because everybody's got an issue. But I think that alongside, calling it what it is. You don't have a problem. You have sin. It's sin. Call it what it is, and because I think that when we call it sin, when we really recognize that I don't just have a problem. This is sin in my life. Then I think you come face to face with you and your relationship with Christ. And so once you kind of come to that realization, and it becomes a serious thing when we call it sin, right? And because we know we have, the commandment to be holy because he's holy, right? And so understanding that we can't fight this thing or overcome it in our flesh, right? But by the Spirit of Christ, we're more than conquerors, right? And so I think the one thing that's not addressed, just from everything that everybody else on the panel has said, is I think where we lose the battle a lot of times, because I deal with people as a trainer, right? It's kind of the same issue, right? People don't examine their rituals and their routines on a daily basis. And so here it is, if you have this stronghold, this habit that you have, most people don't pay attention or examine, like, what are the triggers? That is it every time I'm stressed out that I go smoke? Is it when this happens, I have a drink? Is when I'm feeling these feelings, I feel like I gotta go satisfy that need through pornography or whatever else your vice is, your sin is? And so examining what are the triggers, right? And then being willing to have an open communication with somebody as it relates to that, right? But then once you make that discovery, you need new rituals, right? Because if you're doing the same routine all the time, that's how the enemy gets you. Like, yeah, you confessed it and everybody knows, but you still follow the same patterns in your daily life. Does it make sense? And so they still lead you to the same conclusions, right? You can be as strong, and just kind of put it in lighter terms, but you can be as strong as you want to. But if you get hungry and you go to buy Shipley's every day, like, you're gonna eat donuts. Like, one day, you keep going by there, and he's gonna catch you slipping, and you're gonna have a donut. Right? You're gonna fall. And so you have to get to a place where you have whole new routines. You have different rituals. Because once we get into a routine, then we're on autopilot. Right? So you can know it all you want to. The devil like, yeah, you know, I know, you know. But you're going to come by this way again, and I'm going to show you that same skirt. You're going to come by this way again, and that same person going to get on your nerves. So he gonna track you. He knows your routines. He knows your rituals. And until you break those, right, you're going to keep falling into the same patterns. Right? And so, and understand too, the Bible says, resist the devil and he'll flee. Like, once you realize that this is your stronghold, you can't play with it. You can't patty cake with it. And because you have to know it's not willpower. Your willpower is going to fail you because that's the nature of your enemy, right? He's just going to keep offering you the same thing over and over. He don't waste his time offering you nothing he know you don't like. And so he's patient. He'll just keep offering you, and he'll just keep offering it to you. Because one day because you're trying to hold on and be strong, and you think that you can, kind of, if I'm just hold on long enough. No, one day you're gonna be tired, right? I used to train this guy that was alcoholic, but he had been sober for like over 20 years, right? And the thing that they teach the alcoholics to beware of is they call it a halt, right? HALT. Because these are the things that trigger, we talked about triggers, right? That trigger them to want to go back and drink. H is hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Those are the 4 triggers that make most people go back to drinking. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Right? And so it's the same with the thing that you're struggling with. Like, you have to understand, like, what causes me to go back to that thing, right? And then the last thing I'll say is one of my favorite illustrations that I used to use, like a long time ago. I had this illustration about these 2 dogs, right? This man used to fight dogs, and he had a black dog and he had a white dog. And so he would go bet, he would take the dog and go bet, you know, when the dogs would fight, and he'd always win, right? No matter which dog he bet on, his dog would always win. So one day, a dude pulled him to the side and I said, man, how do you always know which dog is gonna win the fight? He said, well, when I want the white dog to win, I feed the white dog and starve the black dog. But then when I want the black dog to win, I feed the black dog and I starve the white dog. Right? It's the same thing in your life. Right? You have a spirit man, you have a natural man. That's always fighting against each other. Right? And so your strength, who you think is going to be stronger?
The one you feeding.
The one you feed the most. So if you feed your flesh all week long, right? Then at the end of when the temptation comes, who do you think is going to win? Your fleshly man or your spirit man? You've been watching this stuff on TV. You've been listening to stuff. You're not monitoring what you're looking at, what you're reading, what you're hearing, who you having conversations with. You're not monitoring any of those. You're just steady feeding your flesh, overindulging in everything. So you have, your spirit man has no strength. You pray, you know, once over your food. That don't count. Right? You come to church once, Wednesday, maybe come Sunday, that's it. That's the only time you spend feeding your spiritual man. So you're going to always fail. Because you think you could do it in your flesh, but you can't. But I guarantee you, fast from that TV, fast from that phone, fast from that computer. Push away from the table. Go and read your scriptures, get that word out. Man don't live on bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth. That's your strength. You have to, I mean, it sounds cliches. Yeah, what else is a bunch of pastors going to say? You're sitting at the panel, you got to read your Bible. But it's the truth. That's the only thing that's going to strengthen you spiritually to overcome. Because you already have the victory. You're just weak. And you think you can beat it in your flesh. And the devil like, yeah, come on in here with that. That's why you lose.
Okay, we may have,
I like the way the question says, how do you deal with it? That's your problem right there. You've been dealing with it and tried this. Instead of dealing with it, you need to get the victory over it. You have a mindset, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to continue to deal with it. And you'll never get the victory over something you're dealing with. If you haven't come to the mindset that, hey, I got to get the victory in this. I'm not going to be just dealing with this, because I'll be dealing with this for the next 50, 30, 60, 70 years. But I need to get the mindset that I want to get the victory. And kind of piggyback on what Wendell said, because I thought about something that most of us, we've heard the story, read so many times about when Jesus went to the wilderness and fasted 40 days and all that, and then he was tempted by the devil. But did you know that Jesus dealt with the devil in a weak state? His flesh was weak, but his spirit man was strong. It showed you that you got victory, and you ain't need the flesh to get the victory of what you're dealing with. You really don't, because he got the victory not because of his physical strength, but because of his spiritual strength. So that's what you really need to be feeding your spiritual strength, because that's what you need to get the victory over. Because this stronghold, trust me, it's spiritual. Now, if you don't think it's spiritual, trust me, it's spiritual. There's a spirit behind that stronghold. No matter what sin you're dealing with, there's a spirit behind it. And if you try to deal with it in the flesh, you're gonna be defeated every time. Deal with it again. Deal with it in the flesh. That's all you've been doing, dealing with it, dealing with it. You haven't got the mindset, I need to get the victory of this. Because that's what God, he gave us. He said, you're more than conquerors. You're not just a conqueror, you're more than conquerors. So you need to get the mindset, I need to get the victory, not just deal with it. I need to get the victory over this. That's how you again, if you're a boxer, you need to come in, I'm going to deal with these next 16 rounds. Now, I need to come in with, I got the mindset, I'm going to knock this guy out. That's the mindset. I ain't come here just to deal with this. No, I come here to knock him out. That's why, because I want to get the victory. I don't want him to ever get back off this campus again. That's the mindset. You need to come with the mindset that when you're dealing with this situation, you're dealing with a stronghold, now stop dealing with it. I need to get the victory. I need to be done with this once and for all. That's the mindset.
All right, guys, we are out of time. Okay. We're going to pick up with this question on next Wednesday. And I'm pretty sure the audience have some comments that maybe you probably was thinking about. Please bring those comments to us next Wednesday. All right?